Yo, what's good, YouTube? Today we're gonna go over Vod review of our first kill on Stone Legion Generals, Resto Shaman POV. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe on my YouTube channel, man. Start getting let's try to get this channel trending up, man, for real. Definitely subscribe if you can. If you want more healer content and more just like live questions and stuff like that, you want to ask me more stuff like one-on-one, go to my twitch.tv/Jdtre, go to my channel, follow. I'm live a lot, so pull up on the stream and ask me questions. I'll be able to help you, man. But let's kind of get to it. Let's keep this short and simple. This fight is a little bit longer. It's like a 10-minute fight, so this video could be a little bit longer, but I will make sure I have it segmented for you guys. You can go through P1, P2, P3, or either of the intermissions, right? So, like I said, let's get to it. All right, so right here, this is the start of phase 1. This is the start of the fight. The start of the fight is really simple. I would say, honestly, this fight is, in reality, a pretty simple fight. There isn't too many, like, oh my god, hard mechanics to deal with. It's just these certain overlaps that you gotta make sure you handle them correctly, right? Right now, our comp is 1 Disc Priest, 2 Shamans, a Resto Druid, and a Paladin, right? Ideally, we would have another Paladin, but we didn't have that situation or that luxury. This is the comp we ran. I would say for this fight, it's kind of ideal to make sure you're at least coming in with 1 Disc Priest, 1 Shaman. At the very least, right? You need the Shaman for the Spirit Link, for the Goliath when he's on the no-heal debuff, or to handle Heart Rends. The entire Resto Shaman kit's amazing for this fight. And then the Disc Priest, just Spirit Shell, right? Let's be honest. They can just cover so many damage events and just carry in that aspect. But let's get started on the fight. Like I said, we'll segment out this video, so if you want to see a specific phase or intermission, just skip to that part in the video, and you'll be able to see that. So right here at the beginning of the fight, all we're gonna really try to do is provide as much DPS as possible. There really isn't that much to heal as a healer, and you're just gonna see me pretty much just casting a lot of DPS. I'm in here just making sure I flame shock both targets, and I'm just putting damage into the Goliath. Now the strat here is to pretty much have your DPS use their cooldowns on this first set, and they just blow this first set up, right? We're looking to phase around the 152-minute mark, and that'll get us into intermission really quickly. And we're just blowing up this set. Now, this right here, we're going to have our Disc Priest ramp this up. We're going to have him Massive Spell. I'm going to Spirit Link on top of that, and then that's just going to negate pretty much all of the Heart Rend, right? So the way Heart Rend works is basically you get this debuff, or 4 people in the raid get this debuff. It's called Heart Rend. When you dispel Heart Rend, it puts Heart Hemorrhage on them, which does like massive damage. It's like 10k per tick for like 6 seconds. Like, it's insane damage if you have to heal them by themselves solo, right? Which in this video, in this VOD, you'll see a couple times where we actually have to do that. But you can trivialize that mechanic basically by having a Spirit Link on top of them, and instead of one person getting hit like a truck, it just spreads out that dot across the entire raid, and it's much more manageable. So you'll be able to see on the next soak, we also have a link on that soak as well, and at that point you'll see our Heart Rends be able to get managed very efficiently and very easy, to the point where we're not really even stressing at all as healers, right? So like I said, we're still putting in a lot of damage. We're just making sure we're trying to get this Goliath to die as fast as possible. The biggest thing about this Goliath is that whenever he reaches 30%, you need to make sure that your raid is bursting him down, because as a healer, you literally cannot do anything once he hits that debuff, right? You're going to see a weak aura pop up here on the left. Let's see it. It's about to pop up. This is the no heal debuff that he has, right? We're at 100% healing reduction. We cannot heal anybody in the raid, right? The way to negate that as a healing team is you pretty much can put Link on the raid, and any damage that one person may take during that time just gets redistributed, right? So Link is super good for that no heal debuff that the Goliath puts out on the raid, right? So, like I said, around 150-ish or so, 145, 150, we phase into the first intermission. And now, the way that intermissions work out is pretty much your time as a raid to really just catch up, breathe a little bit, and just take your time in this intermission and just kill these commandos, kill this Goliath, and get them down quickly. Right here, what we do is we actually have Heart Rends that go out, and we manually dispel them and throw an AMZ on top of that. That way the 20% magic DR is able to cover that set of heart rends, and we're pretty much safe. No one's getting destroyed by this heart hemorrhage debuff, and we're able to have time to like spot heal these players up, right? Our philosophy for heart rends was basically whenever a heart rend would go out on the raid, we would want to deal with them as fast and efficient as possible. That was our philosophy. So right here, we kill the Goliath. There's no longer a no heal debuff. The heart rends go back out. You see that's the blue on my frames. We throw a Devo on top of that, and then we just start to train heal these players before either they get an orb or they get like any other mechanic of some sort that they have to deal with, right? We try to get that off of them as fast as possible. One, them using their defensives if they have it available, and two, us using external if we really have to on somebody. But more so, like I said, just making sure everyone of your healers are paying attention fully whenever heart hemorrhage debuff is out, right? That's the most important mechanic at the time when you're dispelling. So now that we're out, we're pretty much almost getting out of this intermission phase. We're about to push out of this intermission phase. What we do with this last soak is we actually have them step out to the side. We grip them in. This is another reason why you really want to have your priest in the raid. Then we go over here. We dropped in the last orb. We threw an AMZ on the raid. That way it mitigates that knockback damage, right? Then we also throw a Healing Tide Totem on top of that. For Resto Shaman, I actually switched off of Tumbling Waves and went to Heavy Rainfall. So I was playing Swirling Currents and Heavy Rainfall. The reason why is because we're going to be so grouped the entirety of the fight. So Healing Tide Totem doesn't really get that much value on this fight simply because you have like a Disc Priest in your raid, right? And yeah, you don't really take any damage when you have a Disc Priest, or not a lot, right? So Healing Tide Totem by itself isn't going to do a lot, but Healing Rain itself, when you have Heavy Rainfall paired up with it, is really good. It makes that like an Omega cooldown during that time period. So either your Healing Rain is going to do the healing or your Healing Tide is going to do the healing. Either or, it's really good. It could be potentially overkill, but Tumbling Waves just didn't really have a lot of value in this fight, I felt like. So that's why I opted out of doing that. This was a perfect example right here of the Goliath no heal debuff. I kind of want to go back so we can touch on that really quick. So right here you see this is the no heal debuff, 100% reduction of healing right here. The Goliath is about to die. Your DPS literally need to kill this is the #1 priority in the fight, right? Our main tank, one of our tanks are about to die. So the only way to save him, because we can't heal him, is either an external, which probably kills him, or the best cooldown is Spear Link, right? We throw a Spear Link on the group. That's able to get him topped up and in a safety range so that we don't have to panic heal him outside of this no heal debuff, right? So another thing that's really scary is during that no heal debuff, sometimes you get an overlap of the blades, right? So the way to handle the blades, if you get an overlap during the Goliath no heal debuff, is you need to make sure that you have some sort of personal or defensive going into that at all times, right? As a Resto Shaman, you could play Earth Lily Conduit. I think at max rank, it gives you 29% maximum HP, which is a lot. I think it goes from like my 42k HP right here to like 51 or something like that. Like it skyrockets you at least 10k HP. That's a lot, right? Also, your Astro Shift is a 40% DR for 12 seconds. That's a really good wall. You need to save your wall pretty much for any type of scary overlap like that. If you get blades or you're doing some type of a mechanic during a no-heal Goliath, right? So this Goliath right here is about to be pressing about 30% here soon. He just hit 30%, and like I said, we throw another link on top of the group just for safety. These two players right here on the bottom, they actually got the Wicked Blade. So that's, like I said, that's the scary part, is you're not going to be able to heal someone or top them off before the Wicked Blade happens, and they could potentially get one shot, right? That was a lot of problems that we had during Prague. Another thing to make sure is during these soaks, you can go unmitigated on these soaks, but there's no reason to. You just don't want to take extra random damage for no reason. So we wanted to make sure we had something for pretty much every soak. I think we have 2 soaks where we don't have anything on top of it, but it's not that big of a deal if you have the entire 20 people soak. But basically, we usually have our AMZs or a barrier, or we pair up a link with a soak and another mechanic. That's our strat, right? So right here, we're just soaking the eruptions. Make sure we get that done. And then there's a bug for some reason, like, I don't know why, but make sure we get that done. And then we also throw an Ankh Totem down here for safety. Like I said, your raid is just killing all these commandos and the Goliaths and stuff like that, making sure they kill all the shields, get the orbs, insert the orbs into Prince, and then, like I said, this is second intermission. It's really chill. It's really easy. We're just taking a break and kind of just giving ourselves a little bit of breathing room and getting our cooldowns back set up for P3 when it's more of like the easier part of the fight, but that's really where you have both bosses. You're dealing with both mechanics at the same time, and you want to just kill the boss as fast as possible, right? So, like I said, right here, we're just pretty much taking our time, killing these commandos. Our raid leader is simply calling like, hey, kill Skull, everyone, attention on Skull. Right when that shield comes up, everyone puts in massive DPS. For this soak specifically right here, it's one of the last ones. We throw a Devo on top of it, and then what we do is right whenever we kill that commando, we put the orb in immediately. We send the entire group into the corner, and we put the orb in immediately. Now, this is a little tricky because you could be putting in the orb at the same time that Wicked Blades go out, and you could get players that will get knocked off because they'll be too close. And that's where it puts these players in a bind. The way to combat that is to pretty much either phase it even faster, or technically you wait until after the blades hit this second person, put it in, and that way hopefully you don't get the crystallized. But the way that this boss is its spell queue is like really weird, really bad. So like sometimes the minute like this blade hits, you'll get a crystallize on a group, or like the second you'll get a crystallize on the group, and then you'll have to deal with that mechanic. If you get the crystallize, it's okay, because you can just have the person get stunned, and then you can have the whole raid group soak it, and then you could throw like an AMZ or a barrier on top of that, and you're okay. You're going to be safe. You will get knocked back, and you'll take a little bit more damage, but you're safe. Right here, we do the double knockback. We actually lose one of our Wicked Blade players, like I said, but we get knocked back from the orb insert, and then we also get the second knockback. So you saw our raid frames. Our frames didn't go down that crazy. And then we go into phase 3. Right now, we throw an Ankh Totem on top of that, and like I said, we're going to unmitigate this. We're pretty much not going to throw any type of mitigation on top of this, because we want to save it for the more challenging overlaps at the end, right? So at this point in the fight, you're just dealing with every single mechanic that General Kaal does and General Grashaal does. General Kaal will, and you could potentially get them overlapping, which is the scary part, right? Like, this is where it really sucks on this fight, is dealing with the skirmishers pushing you back and having to try to like still heal or still DPS during that time frame, right? So right here we have the debuffs out. We opt to not dispel. You do not want to dispel in this phase, because you pretty much don't want to take the extra damage. There's no reason to. We're just going to save both of our spirit links for whenever they're about to run out, which is in about 5 seconds. So right after this soak, we're actually going to throw a spirit link on a group to handle this mechanic, and it actually pairs up with the soak, which is perfect. So we throw a barrier on top of that just to be able to handle this mitigation, like mitigate all of this damage even more, which gives us that extra safety. So like I said, like, this looks in theory really easy, and it actually is like a simple and easy fight whenever you fully deconstruct it all. But like I said, it's just the overlaps on this fight can make it really challenging, in a sense where everyone kind of has to deal with the overlap themselves before they're like, okay, before you kill this boss, like, everyone's gonna have to deal with the overlap. And that's like the shitty part about it, but you know, that's the nature of this boss. We have people falling off a little bit. We just got heart hemorrhages and we threw the link on top of them, so that's really good for the people who have the heart hemorrhages. Anyone who died with the heart hemorrhage probably wasn't in the link, so that's the sad part about that. But then, like I said, at the end of the fight, you kind of just cruise and you just kill the bosses. Like, the thing about this boss is, like, P1, Intermission 1, P2, Intermission 2, that's, like, the hard part of the fight. P3 is where it's not really hard. Like, the boss just kind of falls over at that point. A lot of people even saw, once you hit P3 for, like, the first time, you just killed the boss. Or, like, the second time or something like that, the boss just died, right? So With this iteration, I would say that this boss is not as hard as it was pre-nerf, which is really good. Some of the changes that they made, the quality of life changes they made, was really good quality of life changes. Like, whenever you would dispel a target, when you would just dispel Heartrend, it would put the debuff on you and them. So that was like something tricky to really handle. So like you didn't want to handle that mechanic at all. And there was a little bit of a different strat. But yeah, that's kind of all I have for this Stone Legion General kill. Like I said, it's not too crazy of a fight. The only thing is everyone's going to have to deal with the mechanic themselves. I think for one of these type of fights, everyone has to deal with the mechanic before they fully grasp it and they fully are able to handle it. And then at that point, once you kind of get all 20 people like, okay, when I get Wicked Blaze during a no-heal Goliath debuff, I use a personal. Boom. Once everyone kind of understands the mechanic, or, hey, when there's a shield up, I need to just train the shield and kill the shield. Once everyone gets that mechanic or something like that, that's when you go into phase 3 pretty smooth and you kill the boss, right? Other than that, it's not too crazy of a fight, in my opinion, especially with the way that they nerfed it and changed it, and there's potentially going to be more nerfs coming soon. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like I said, follow me on twitch.tv/Jdtre. We go stream pretty much every day for the most part, every night, and raid, PvP, Mythic Plus, whatever you name it, all healer gameplay for the most part. And yeah, man, we'll be dropping this Sire video here soon. If you're going to want to see that, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that whenever I drop that video, you'll be able to see that video too.